Hi everyone, and welcome to another very special episode of Men Talk. And to follow the last episode that I released, where I welcomed Sound of the Sirens, I am. It may not look like it at the minute, but I have welcomed another acoustic singer-songwriter duo. One that I've actually got a personal link to as well, which we'll discuss. And a welcome. It will be Cris and Rich. Just Cris at the moment, but searching for autumn. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Very good, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll wait for, at some point Rich will drop in just to let the viewers and the listeners know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the world of life happens. Life has happened for him. So he's on his way. But to lay the groundwork for those who are watching this who may not know what the link is between us. We were actually at school together. It's taken us till now, 22 years nearly, to speak again. So hopefully this won't be the last time for the next 22 years. But it's great to catch up with you, mate. We have just had a bit of a chat before we did this, so sort of warmed up a bit. But how's things going? You know, how has the last sort of 20 years been treating you?
Yeah, well, it's been all right. Like I say, married, couple of kids, still in Basingstoke, back in Winklebury.
Yeah.
So yeah, not much has changed really, other than kids and marriage.
But it changes everything. That's the problem. Well, not the problem. I shouldn't say that, just in case they are listening. But it's not a problem. But yeah, life does change.
Yeah,
but the reason I reached out to you guys in particular is to bring you on to talk about your music, because I do remember back along. During our school days, there were a couple of you that were very, very musical. I remember guitars being brought into class in sort of our later years and whatever, which was very odd at the time. But I was very, very envious that you guys were just able to just get together and make music just literally where you were. And you've carried this forward. So sort of, just to introduce the duo, the group, Searching for Autumn. When was it that you and Rich sort of got together first, and then started? When did it start taking off that you started performing as Searching for Autumn?
So obviously we were in a band together, like what you were saying at school, and I think we one of the first names of that was like Strangers at Midnight or something. We was like, man, that sounds a bit odd. Bit off. So, but
it was the 90s though. So
yeah, it was the 90s. Yeah. Well, we went to see a band called the Men They Couldn't Hang with Mr. Bates.
Oh, okay.
Cool. To the Anvil to see him.
Right.
So it was like, oh, we like that sort of name. So we'll be the Strangers at Midnight, and we thought that was a bit dodgy. But anyway, yeah. So we done that, and then we ended up splitting up when we left school. We went off and done our own thing. And then really, I didn't play music for probably 20 years. I didn't play my guitar. It just went in there. Every now and then I'd get it out. But it was just hid away and I never played it. So probably about 3 years ago, I started playing again. Just an old guitar I had, and the bridge was all knackered. And so the action was really high. And my fingers were like bleeding almost playing the old acoustic guitar again. But I just randomly wrote a song. We just come out and played. I picked it up and wrote a song, and I was like, it sounds all right. So I was kind of thinking to myself, how am I going to get back into music? And I see Rich quite often anyway. So I just said to Rich, do you want to have a jam? I've got a song. And I can't even remember what that song is now. I don't think we
it's one of my questions there. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, so I can't remember what it was, but we had a jam and it sort of went from there.
Cool.
So we just started. Because the way it kind of works is I'll write a song with lyrics and the sort of melody, and then Richie does what Richie's brilliant at and puts all the
science over it.
Whistles on it. Yeah, it makes it gives it a real cool sound that I think that we're sort of going for. But yeah, so probably 2-3 years ago, we started playing together again.
Wow. What was the any reason why sort of music was put to the back burner for that long for you, or was it just again life that just
I think together? So when we split up as a band, and that was kind of, I think when I probably just left school, I didn't really have a lot of confidence going out playing on my own and stuff. I did try with a geezer I met down the pub, and it just didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
And then I suppose just life started to take over, working, and then met me missus, and just sort of just took the back burner. Just went off
Fair enough.
completely. I was still into music. I was still into
Yeah.
listening to music. I love my music,
Mm.
but just stopped playing, and I just ended up losing confidence really.
Right.
And like I say, every now and then I'd get the guitar out and have a whack on it, and I'd think, put it back, and then. But like I say, that one day, I just wrote a song. It just come out of nowhere.
Is that the first one you'd done, or way back, like at school? Did you have anything written back then, or was it new?
Yeah, so we had a couple of our own tunes back then. One was called "Life on Mars," which was that was an original track we had. With a
recognisable title. I love it. So it was instantly could get recognition on there. So.
Well, yeah, we played that at a Battle of the Bands thing at Brighton Hill School, and we had a couple of other things. I'd written a couple of other things, which I still sort of play every now and then. But yeah, and then like I say, I did nothing for 20 years.
So interesting enough, then, where did this song kind of come from? I mean, can you remember? You can't remember which song it was. Can you remember anything about what drove you to write it, or what the what the inspiration was?
No, so I find with songwriting, I'll play some chords, and then a melody might come, and I'll just sort of say any lyrics in my head, and it either goes or it don't. It's almost like it writes itself to a way. I know that sounds kind of cliche.
No, I've had like 2 or 3 books written like that. It just
kind of goes. And like I say, that particular song, I don't really know what it's about, but the very next song I wrote after that was called "Silence Within," which we still play now.
I like that one. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, which is one where Richie just plays and I just do the vocals on it.
Yeah.
But that was the second song I wrote.
Wow.
And yeah, again, lyrically, started playing it, and lyrically I was just putting some lyrics together, and I didn't know what it was going to be about. Rarely do I know what I very rarely start a song and think I'm going to write a song about this today or that today. Yeah. The lyrics, whatever the lyrics that come out and that catch my ear, then it kinds to take life from that.
Yeah.
Because that song's about not a serial killer, but like a stalker.
Okay.
Stalking a woman. That he does kill this woman, but it's about him. So from the verse, and he stalked her, and how we done her in, and then
this is what fascinates me, especially with music. And I know we were saying just before we came on here. So music has always been a massive thing. It's probably the first source of inspiration I ever had. Goes way back to my musical influences. It's what really catches my attention. Since I moved down to Devon and discovered folk music, is songs with a narrative, with a story, not just like, oh, I'm feeling this today, or this happened to me. Some sort of story behind them. So that one there, actually, that is it's obviously not something, hopefully, that's happened to you.
No,
but something you've taken from somewhere. Just kind of shows where influence and inspiration can come from.
I mean, I don't know where the initial lyrics come from, so I wasn't thinking about murdering a woman or anything.
Let's hope not.
I don't know where those lyrics come from, but I think it probably comes from when I was growing up. I always liked darker lyrics.
Yeah.
So I used to love Nirvana, but Polly was about sort of a serial killer, which is one of Nirvana's songs. And I loved like Sound of Silence by Simon Garfunkel, those darker kind of lyrics. And recently, I started listening to Bobby Gentry, who used to do a load of stuff in the 60s with Glenn Campbell, but she's got about 3 or 4 of her own songs, and they are really dark songs.
Okay.
And I love them. I just love the lyrics, the way they make you kind of feel. So I think that's where the inspiration comes from, probably lyrically, is from listening to that type of music. Like Eleanor Rigby is another one from the Beatles, massive Beatles fan, and Eleanor Rigby is probably my favourite Beatles tune. And just that haunting feeling that those lyrics and the melody brings on. So I think that's definitely probably where that comes from. But I have 2 types. So I do have songs where there's no story to it really, and it's just a random. Sometimes I don't even know what they're about until I then play them a couple of times, and then I think, oh yeah, it's probably about this.
That's interesting.
Maybe that's something I'd felt or whatever, and it's just come out on paper.
Just really subconsciously written itself.
Yeah,
through,
just goes down. Yeah, like I say, I very rarely, if ever, I've written a song where I've sat down and gone, I'm going to write about love today, or I'm going to write this, or the song starts and then it takes life from there.
Yeah, that's comforting to know for me. You know, as a bit of a failed songwriter so far, I've got one going on my. I've got a notes app on my phone, so if any ideas for books or songs that come to me, I do write them down. I've got one on the go, probably on the go for about sort of 2 months. I've just been adding little bits too. I think I've been trying to kind of pigeonhole it into it's about this, or it's got to be about this, or I've got a title in mind. And like, okay, I've got to write to that. To know that actually you've been able to write your stuff without setting those boundaries first.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, no, I think I'd find it harder. If someone, I know for a fact, I've got a mate who's a songwriter, and you could go to him, oh, Bill, can you write me a song about this? And he'll write you a song about that, whatever you've asked. Yeah. If someone asked me, I would really struggle to sit down and then write a song about something already in mind. I think it just needs to, it just happens or it don't.
It's got to be organic. You've got to be able to relate to it or connect to it, haven't you? If it's something.
Yeah, I think it's just for me. That's just the way it works. Yeah. So, like for example, I've not written. I wrote a song last week, and that's the first song I've written in months.
Right.
Because it either comes or it doesn't. And I've decided not to try and force it, because if I try and force it, I just get frustrated and don't write anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So
if you walk away. Yeah.
But, so that's how it goes in a minute.
Going on to a couple of your videos that I've seen that are up there on the interweb. You've actually over the last couple of days put me onto a guy I had never even heard before until I saw a couple of your covers. A guy called Tyler Childers.
Yeah, decent.
Yeah, see, I heard your versions and then I listened to his versions. He's quite country, isn't he? Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, Americana country type.
Yeah.
Dark country, I think it is, because that's another.
You know what? I've never heard that expression, but that's exactly what I had in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Dark country.
That's cool.
There's loads of great artists that do similar type of music. Yeah, he's cool, Tyler Childers.
Yeah, and it was White House Road and the other one. Nose on the Grindstone, have I got that right?
Yeah,
Nose on the Grindstone.
Yeah.
And I think what I loved about your versions, I mean, I love both, but what really grabbed me with your versions is firstly, it's almost like it's quite raw. It's just you, or it's just you two guitars.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Very haunting. Then, like we've said, with the lyrics and that really does bring it to life. Whereas listen to some of his fuller versions, and there's a lot more behind it. It does. You do get that kind of country feel to it.
Well, I mean, the first versions I heard of those songs was literally Tyler Childers doing them live with just a guitar.
Oh, okay. Right.
Like acoustic sessions. So we pretty much rip them off and just play them.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, I love Tyler Childers, man. He's got some real great stuff.
It's cool, and I am going to be delving. I love just finding other artists out there out of like nothing. There's quite a few folk artists that I literally put on a Spotify playlist while I've been like cleaning or something, and one track's come through, and it's been enough for me to then just go through their back catalogue because I absolutely love what they do. So now that you're in the room, I mean, you can both, because Cris, I haven't really sort of directed this question yet, but your sort of songwriting influences. If there are any acts out there, any particular musicians that have influenced you in a certain way to your songwriting style or playing style so far, in particular?
I don't think there's one particular act that's influenced me, but there's a lot of acts, like just going through from listening to Nirvana when I was a kid, and now dark country had a really big influence. So I found Tyler Childers just by searching dark country, and there's loads of great artists, but they're all similar lyrically. So they have those dark lyrics involved, because we do the other one, didn't we? What's Gallows Pole? Which is a guy called Willie Watson. And it's a cover of a Led Zeppelin tune, but he does it really differently. But the lyrics in that are, dark lyrics.
Yeah.
So I think that is what's probably influenced me lyrically.
Okay.
since I started writing again anyway, I suppose.
Yeah. How about you, Rich? What about
Yeah, I suppose my playing style. I mean, generally with the songs, to be fair, Cris is the one that does the core writing of them. He normally brings a song, and then we sit down and we sort of jam through it. And I kind of end up just bringing in some of the melodic side of it, some of the sort of background melodies, harmonies. Just have a tinker around. But I think a lot of probably my playing growing up was definitely things like Pink Floyd, and Zeppelin, and down that type of road, I suppose, is where my influences originally came from. I got a bit grungy, I suppose, into my late teens, into sort of Alice in Chains and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And then sort of in recent years, sort of gone more into sort of soul and funk. So I've had a bit of a diverse. With Cris, it just I sort of don't, and I think Cris is the same. We just sort of let it come naturally, and what comes out comes out. So some of our songs are quite different to each other, but it still sounds within a certain vein, but not all the same, I suppose. Yeah,
because most of the songs we've got, literally, I'll show it to Rich, and he'll put something to it. And if it doesn't really happen straight away, we usually park it, don't we?
Yeah.
And we'll think, we'll go back to that one where we've actually got to put some effort in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely never try and force anything, do we? We sit down, we normally have a bit of a crack at it, and if it don't come off straight away, like I said, we put it to the side, and then we'll just jam a couple of others. And next minute, half the time, to be fair, the sort of writing process after Cris has got the core of it normally happens quite quickly. Within an hour or something, we've suddenly got all these melodies, harmonies, and we just bang away with that one.
Awesome.
And, yeah.
That's cool.
It's hard work.
It wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't, really, would it? To be fair. No. So I guess is it sort of only like the last couple of years or so that you got together, with under the Searching for Autumn banner? That I understand. Yeah. What impact did COVID have on all this? Obviously, in terms of creativity and then being able to get out there and actually perform.
Well, obviously the biggest thing was getting out there to performing. It just stopped us. So now, as things are picking up again, where we can do open mics, and we've been doing some showcase nights, just networking with other musicians, and then sort of gigs are generating gigs. Whereas obviously COVID, we were putting stuff up online and that, but it weren't the same anyway. But so COVID affected it that way, I think. So it feels like now, to me, that it's just starting to sort of pick up, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a bit of a learning process going through the COVID side, because we tried to do everything properly, stick to the rules. And we even, the first time we got together, we tried to have a jam live across.
I think it was across Zoom.
Across Zoom or something. Of course, I've never tried that before. And there's a delay.
Yeah.
So you can't. Me and Cris were playing together, and it just sounded like a mash because we were about 3 seconds out from each other all the time, and we just could not get our heads around it. And I spoke to somebody else. You can't. It's physically impossible to do do that.
It probably would have made a good alternative track though.
Probably. It was jazz.
Yeah, that's right. You should have recorded it anyway. You might, if you get stuck down the line. But you had so many acts during that time that seemed to become sensations over things like TikTok and whatever, because their versions of the Weller Man springs to mind. So with that, you have these technical issues like these delays. How do these guys make it work?
What we've done, I think a lot of it is from the sort of putting stuff out, because we did put a few videos out in COVID. But what you have to do is you have to record one bit and send it to the other guy, and then he records this at the top. And it looks like in a box you're both sat there playing together, but you're technically not. It's all done at different times. But that was the sort of way we got around it. And when it sort of eased off for a bit, obviously, and we went back into lockdown, and those couple of moments where it eased off for a bit, we were meeting out in the middle of nowhere. We drive out into the country, because I've got a camper van. Couple of chairs, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
and
cool,
literally just park up in the middle of the countryside somewhere, man. Just sit on the side in a lay-by and just start jamming out some tunes.
I've seen a couple of those. They were brilliant. It just looks like so much fun. Like you guys, just literally have gone out into the middle of nowhere, and you just happen to have guitars on.
Lockdown haircut as well.
Again, who didn't? I went the other way. I got rid of mine. Just
did you? Brilliant.
So when the opportunity came to first start getting out there and perform, do you feel that then COVID benefited you in a way because you were able to either do some writing during that period, or you were more prepared, when you first got out there at your first performance?
No, not for me. I think because we started doing some open mic nights before COVID, and like I say, I was just like really nervous on those ones. It was the first time I performed in ages, so it was almost just like I just want to get through it. And I kind of didn't enjoy the early ones. I enjoyed watching other acts, but when I was on there, I just wanted to get through it. And then, but I don't think COVID really, because we couldn't even jam properly, could we? So practicing.
I think I found it quite frustrating, really. I think we just sort of, like Chris was saying, we'd sort of done the first couple of, you know, I suppose pulling the band-aid off the first few like gigs, and then we just started to get a bit of rhythm up together, and it all sort of went Pete Tong, and then we were sort of benched, really. And for me, like, it was really difficult because we write, like, as in Cris writes the songs, but then I come and collab on top. It was impossible to do that. So no matter how much Cris wrote, we couldn't do that as such. It's quite difficult, really, because I mean, for me, I'm quite I get a vibe and a feel off stuff. So Cris did send me some things, and I tried jamming around, and it just didn't happen. Because I sort of really benefit. I mean, I'm not saying I couldn't come up with something, but I sort of benefit from being in a room with Cris, and it sort of happening naturally and a bit more sort of authentically, I suppose, and natural.
I watched a great documentary film about Evanescence. The album, I forget the name of it now, but the album they put together during COVID. And fair enough, they've got a lot of expertise and money at their disposal, then what they created was fantastic. But I couldn't imagine the amount of work that has to go into doing something like that across the void like that. You know, they're guitarists in Germany and they're in LA or whatever doing their bits, but
it's just not as fun. I don't think.
No.
Like when we get together, because mate, normally we'll go, we'll have a jam, and we talk for about an hour, don't we, before we even start doing it?
Talk for an hour, three or four beers later, and then we're like,
do some music.
that might be where, you know, a lot of this inspiration comes from. You know, it just comes from everywhere, doesn't it? So that's cool. That's cool. So I'll put you on the spot, really. Then a two-pronged question for each of you. So in terms of favorites of songs you've created, and then favorite songs that you like to perform, you know, covers basically. Have you got either?
Yeah, I have. Well, I go in and out. One song will be my favourite in a certain period of time, and then another one will be my favourite one at the minute is Dirty Things, our original tune. I just love the feel of that tune. I love playing that tune. I love the lyrics in that tune. So that's my favourite original, and probably the I don't know. It's either going to be Cliff Richard.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it was coming.
I'll do a cover of Devil's Woman by Cliff Richard.
Oh, okay. I wondered which one you were going to bring out then, but
it's like I love it. I do. I could have been tried to bring up
a celebration or something like that.
I know about that we do covers of, but probably Cliff.
That's Cliff.
I like the what's the one we do that sometimes you do on the slide?
Oh, the Cagey Elephant.
Cagey Elephant song, No Rest for the Wicked. I love performing that song.
Okay.
And because I can just unleash when I put my guitar down, and I can say probably those two. But I think it's Cliff at the minute. We ain't done it for a little while.
No, we haven't.
You will now.
Brilliant.
How about you, Rich? You got any different ones to that?
Yeah. I think a couple of my favourites of our own that we like doing. I think Jimmy Rhythm's probably up there. Just always seems to go down really well, and that's got sort of a different feel to it that I've heard anybody do close to it. To be honest with you, I can't say I've ever heard anyone do anything. I mean, we've had a few people say like it was like being in some shanty place in Las Vegas or something, isn't it? Or something, wow. You know, we've had some strange things said about that, and it is a cool vibe. So I really dig doing that one. And cover-wise, I'd probably say no, it's not Cliff. Cliff definitely ain't my one. I do enjoy it. I ain't gonna lie, but it's probably not one of my faves. I think probably Gallows Pole. I think is probably one of my favourites.
That is cool.
It's just such a different version, and again, it just seems to take people a bit. You know, just don't expect it.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. I was going to ask you as well, actually, when you're performing, I guess you do a mix, obviously, of your own stuff and covers. Do you find you get a different type of reaction, or you get, I don't know, more attention, less attention when you're doing your own stuff? If it's something that the audience hasn't heard before, do you find they respond sort of differently to that?
I think it depends where what venue you're playing at. So the venue we played recently, the Hope in Windsor, that was just an out-and-out music venue, and it was a music night. So people were coming there really to listen to original music. So they're really attentive. But we've done gigs sort of in a pub where they'll listen to your original stuff, but the covers will go down, like Cliff Richard. Everyone knows that tune. So that'll go down really well. Keep plugging Cliff, don't I?
This will be the tagline to this interview. So it's important to discuss Chris.
So that will get a reaction because people know that song.
Yeah, sure.
But the last few gigs we've been doing have been like showcase nights for original music. So we get
that's cool.
A reaction from people who've come there to watch original tune. So they come,
On the one of the guests that I had on the last series, actually, Robin Ham. He's a local musician down here in Torquay, and he does a couple of like regular places in Torquay, and I think he said one of them encourages him just to do his own stuff, and the other one won't have anything but covers, sort of thing. So, I mean, do you find that when you're sort of looking at venues and that, do you try to go wherever you can, or do you sort of favour those that will give you that chance to put your own stuff out there?
I think at first I was just trying to get a gig anywhere. So just where we could play anywhere. And we found that the Plough in Farnham, they were happy for us to do an hour and a half of original music.
Cool.
With a couple of covers knocked in there.
Cool.
So that was cool. But now I suppose I'll try and, well, yeah, I'd rather play somewhere where they know it's going to be original music.
Yeah.
So I'll try and look out for that. But I'll just play anywhere. Just love playing anyway. So just get up and play. And sometimes it's nice when someone's not expecting original music and they like your original tunes. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll just play anyway.
I think one of the difficult things we found though is Basingstoke, and I've always said it, and whether people agree or not, I don't know. But I've really always found that Basingstoke really struggles with a good music scene or any culture or art. It just, as soon as something opens, it don't seem to last very long. There's a few pubs and stuff that obviously have a bit of music and that, but it's probably more your pub bands or typical pub band stuff. But again, it doesn't seem to last very long. There's not like a specific music venue where people go to Basingstoke to go to that, play at that place or do that.
I suppose not.
We have to travel quite a way, which when you do your original stuff can sometimes be a bit difficult because half the time you're out of pocket. You're having to drive halfway up the M3 or London or that direction to play for nothing. But I mean, we do it just because we love doing it. But that's one of the things that I've found quite difficult is there's nowhere real local where we are that we can sort of just showcase.
I kind of find it a shame that there's nowhere local because, like, our mates and that might come along if it was closer to Basingstoke. But a lot of the stuff we're doing is on a Tuesday or a Thursday night. So, we were in Windsor, people don't want to travel all the way up to Windsor on a Thursday night. And so I've not really played in front of my old man comes along, doesn't he? He tags along most of the time to take photos and stuff.
Yeah, we played in Farnham was probably the closest we played, to be fair. And we had a couple of people come to that, didn't we? But to the point that we've been sort of discussing about it, maybe putting on a night in Basingstoke, like running one ourselves, because we got PA and everything last year. We're thinking maybe having a go. It's finding a venue which we can sort of do it at, really. But
I wasn't around Basingstoke enough. I think when I discovered live music, I mean, by the time I discovered live music, I was living up in Stoke-on-Trent, and I mean, the Midlands is teeming with live music locations. I mean,
really?
Yeah, it's fantastic up there, especially, I mean, for the metal scene as well, because I think, around sort of Birmingham and that, it's the birthplace of it, it's big up there. And most weeks we used to go up there and watch, a live band or whatever. And oddly enough, one of the bands that we ended up following them around on a few times. And then they did this random show in Basingstoke. And we came all the way back down to see them, basically to surprise them. And that was up at the top of town. I can't even think, it was just this, I don't know if it was a named pub that I knew at the time. I can't think where it was.
Drake's, was it?
How long ago was that?
Oh Christ, this is going back. So I left uni in 2005.
Oh, right.
Round about then. I mean, we're talking sort of 15 years.
That might have well been Drake, because Drake's at the top of town. Drake's become a bit of a music scene. They had like a weird dancing cage in the back for nights when they had random stuff on. But then they had a bit of like a staged area. It was Drake's, and it went to I think it was Silks or something like that. Yeah.
I wonder,
No,
Silks.
that's-
That rings a bell. Actually, I wonder then. Yeah, it could well be that. Could well be that. It kind of, I think it was experience for them. Know your audience, and sort of they did a lot of like 80s. It was 80s rock covers, and I mean they looked like a throwback of Guns N' Roses, their image, and they weren't as well received as they were back home up in Stoke, and they got a lot of hecklers and stuff, and it's almost like, okay, probably sort of misjudged that one slightly, or just the wrong crowd.
They still have live music in there now, don't they? But it's not something else. But yeah, I don't think I'd want to play in there, if I'm honest.
No. Like I said, it's such a shame. Like, you'd think the size of Basingstoke, you think by now, I mean, they tried doing a venue underneath what used to be the old nightclub a couple of years ago. I think it was called Stage One or something like that.
Okay.
And they had some semi-professional bands playing there, but I think it'd been lucky if it lasted 9 months or something, I reckon.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's a shame.
It might do. I mean, it's a shame when you've got to sort of travel further afield. And
I don't mind travelling. It's just, for me, like I want my mates to come along as well.
Exactly.
Play in front of, but there's probably a couple of places that we might be able to get into, but a lot of them want you to have a certain amount of followers so you can guarantee bringing people along. Do you know what I mean? Really, it's only just starting to take place. Some of the bands that we'll play alongside will have thousands of followers. We've got like 92 or something.
Hey, you never know. Might get a few more off the back of this. You never know.
Well, it's like great.
Help each other. Help each other.
Definitely.
So in terms of, have you recorded any of your stuff, or are you still in the sort of stage where you're just performing it live? Have you been in the studio or anything?
Well, we recorded one,
right?
But I wasn't really digging it. We've done a good job on it, but I think I took from the experience that if we record another one, then I either have to do it myself, or I need to be with the guy, like the producer, and tell him where he's going wrong.
Tell him where he's going wrong.
You may as well do it yourself. Okay.
Yeah. But,
that's a shame.
So Pollard, he's got a studio, and we've done a few things with him, and he brings a good sound to it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
So and he done some courses and that. So he's getting his studio up together, sort of home studio.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and do some stuff with him. I've wrangled him in to get him to do some stuff. But yeah, so we do. I think that's the next step, isn't it? To try and promote ourselves.
At least to get like like a 3-track EP or something, just something to push about. Like I said, we have done a couple of things, but I think you've not been happy with that. So,
I mean, he's done a good job, that Jay, didn't he? I'm not saying I've got no. It was professional and all that. It just, I felt it took something away from the track,
right?
And there was too much for me to over via email and text to change, and so that's what I took away from it anyway.
I think you've got a thing in your head how you want it to sound, haven't you? And
you got to be happy with it. Otherwise, it's your baby, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
You sort of someone else doing the technical side, but it still needs to resemble what you want it to at the end of it. I'll look forward to that, because what I've heard of your original stuff for sure is definitely worth listening to, and I would encourage anyone to go out there and check them out. So I'll definitely I shall look forward to the day that you finally got something, something that everyone can go out there.
I mean,
it's amazing what you can. I've been amazed by what some of these guys done. Some of the guys I follow, so Seth Lakeman, don't know if you know him, a big sort of folk star, especially down here. His first album, I think, or his second album, was he recorded in his kitchen for 300 quid. And you wouldn't know. I mean, what they were able to do with it if you know what you're doing. Something like
the technology's there, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, even just on your Mac, you get GarageBand, and you can do half decent stuff out of that.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's just knowing what you're doing, I think, in it with it.
Yeah, it's just knowing what you're doing. Yeah.
But
I find with Pollard, he actually brings something different.
Yeah, because so what we basically done is when we sat with Pollard, because obviously it's just us, two guitars and some vocals. When we recorded this stuff with Pollard's studio, basically we recorded the bare bulk of it, and then we sat there and messed about, and Steve sampled bits and pulled things in and put some sort of, and the stuff that he was doing around that time, he was sort of making his own tracks, wasn't he? And they were very culturally. He sort of brought a lot of an African and an Eastern European, just all sorts of sounds he was bringing to it, and he kind of dropped them in the back of what we were doing, and it just gave it a completely different feel. And I think that's it's been in Chris's head since.
Yeah,
and
I think that's what it is. I've struggled to get that out. He enhanced the haunting feeling of it.
Yeah,
I think, and it just clicked. It's just one of those things. I suppose it just clicked. For me, it did anyway. Cool. So yeah, I get some stuff recorded with Steve.
Watch this space. No pressure.
Yeah, that's it.
No pressure.
Yeah.
As soon as you can.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the next step in the master plan. What is your that's probably an obvious question, really. What's your vision then? Not sounded like someone, like a school teacher. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? But yeah, what would you like to do? Where would you like to be in a few years, ultimately?
I personally would like to get to the stage where, so there's a few music venues. There's one in Basingstoke, funny enough, called the Barn or something. Yeah, but anyway, there's a few music venues that they have regular acts, and they're semi-professional acts, I suppose. So I'd like to just get to around that level. I just want to gig. Yeah, I just want to play, and if we could get enough of a following that venues would be happy to take us on, if that is in their thinking that you need a certain amount of followers or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, just enough of a reputation that these guys are decent and we can get some regular spots playing. Cool. I think that's where I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much down the same line. I'm just happy to play, to be honest with you. No matter what level we get to, it's just great to get out. I mean, I think I really enjoy being on some of these nights we've got into recently, where they're quite. There's all sorts. You go to a music night like the other night. There was about 7-8 acts on. There was poetry, comedy, music, and I really enjoy that aspect because it's just art in its form. And it's just different from the sort of usual jam nights and such. So I really think going to those unusual nights. And that's quite a good venue, the Hope, that we played. Yeah. So just keep branching out. And like Cris said, we do a gig, and at that gig we get a couple more gigs, I think. And then we do those gigs we've got. So hopefully we'll build up.
I mean, we're definitely not saying like we want to play this venue because if we play this venue, this geezer might see us and we might get whatever. We just do it because we love it, and it's a hobby, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day. And whatever comes of it, comes of it. Just keep playing.
Do they still do this is probably going back a little while. They used to do like a music festival at is it the War Memorial Park or something on top? Do they still do something there?
Well, obviously they haven't the last couple of years because of COVID. Yeah. Last I heard that Basingstoke Council were trying to kind of make it so difficult to put it on with restrictions that I don't know whether it is still going to go in. That's what I last heard. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
Basingfest or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it used to have some good acts on it. There's a few good people there. But
I remember going to one the year Cris and I left school. I can't even think what it was called then. Something like Party in the Park. Something round.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Was it that? Yeah. Do you remember Sonique? I can't remember what the song was now. It was like the hit of the summer, and they had her there.
Oh, right. They had Reef last time.
Yeah, Reef.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, that's quite cool.
Yeah,
I should have stuck around a bit longer. But there we go. So, unfortunately, we I know, Rich, you've only just come into part way through this, but I'll have to wind it up a little bit. But where can people find you, first of all? I hate, for the stereotypical question, where are you on social media? Where can they track down any of your stuff that is out there to listen to? And where can they find you where are you performing coming up?
So, social media wise, we've got a Facebook page, just searching for Autumn, and that'll come up. We've got Instagram as well, which is searching for Autumn Duo. That's all on social media, isn't it? I think. Yeah. They can find some videos on YouTube through Dead Sound Promotions, which is a guy that he recorded us when we played at the Mulberry in Farnham, Joe. And we're next playing at the Rose and Crown in Sandhurst on Monday, isn't it? Yeah, Monday, I think.
Monday. You had a gig last night, am I right? Did you have one last night?
Thursday.
Couple of nights, yeah.
Thursday. That was at the Hope in Windsor.
Cool.
We've got one coming up Monday. Awesome. And then one on the 16th of March, St Patrick's Day, I think.
Oh, that's a bigger one.
That's at the Bullwick or something. I can't remember.
No, I don't.
But that's in Egham. But yeah, so we've
Okay.
got a few coming up.
Cool.
But if anyone's interested and want to go on social media, I'll post up there when we're playing and that.
Brilliant. Cool. And
So,
in the
yeah,
description, I'll put your links and I'll put the link for was it Dead Sound Promotions? Did you say on YouTube?
Dead Sound Promotions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
there's loads of videos on there of other artists as well. It's real cool.
Yeah, Joe does a really good
yeah,
job
he
with his
does.
videos. Actually,
Yeah.
you know, he
Yeah.
pieces them together well, and the sort of vibe goes along with sort of our music. Sort of, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
definitely.
Bit of a
Yeah.
cool vibe to it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for your time. This is it. Let's not leave it 22 years for the next one.
Yeah.
Scary as that is, I don't want to be that old
Oh.
by the time we catch up again.
22 years.
I know. Where's it
Mad.
gone? Hey, where's it gone? But
Man, I dread to think what I'm going to look like in.
try and work out.
I'm great as you like now. So God knows I'm going to put you bald in 22 years.
I reckon I'll still have the cardigan though.
Yeah, I reckon you still have that cardigan.
Oh, you got to rock that. This is your usual. This is your usual get up. This is what people can expect from a Searching for Autumn gig. So
Yeah.
No, that's cool. No, I've just worked out I'll be 60 by that point, and I think we'll try and catch up again before that. So,
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
But no, thank you guys. This has been amazing. So everyone go out there and check them out on social media. If you're in the vicinity, get out there and see Searching for Autumn. And hopefully, we have you back on soon. When you've got some stuff out there, when you've got more shows lined up, whatever it is. And awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for inviting us on, man.
No, anytime, mate. It's been great. It's been a great excuse, isn't it? Really to catch up. But, no, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
no, anyway,
thanks a lot, dude. Good to catch up, man.
Yeah, you too, mate. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, share, and hit the subscribe button. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram to keep updated about all future shows.